Hello, everyone, and welcome to One Liners, a series centered around key influencers and players in the performance marketing space. My name is Joey Liner of Liner Connections. It's been a little bit since I recorded. Just been super busy. Had some family stuff with my. Unfortunately, my mom was dealing with a serious infection. So after the AFI Awards, I had to bolt out to Baltimore to spend some time with my mom. She's doing much better. But unfortunately, I couldn't record as much, and now I'm back at it. And here we are in November. It feels like I've seen on LinkedIn a couple people circulate, "Hey, we'll circle back after the holidays," type email. So we know in our space and a lot of other spaces, folks like to slow it down a little bit in the holiday season. So hopefully you and yours are in that uh getting ready for a fun holiday season. But today I am really excited to welcome a guest that actually I was saying to her before we started recording that I've known her for a long time, but I haven't really known her in the sense of really having a good conversation outside of just quick hellos or passing or waves, or maybe we sat around a big meeting at Leeds Council. But Zora, say hello.
Oh, hello. Hi, Joey. I also don't know you, so this might be a bi-directional podcast recording.
This is cool.
Great to
Like,
be here. Yeah.
yeah, no,
I'm
I'm
sorry to hear about your mom. That's awful. I just moved my mom from Texas up to Elmhurst, where I live here just outside of Chicago. So she lives 6 blocks from me, which was a huge blessing and advantage.
yeah.
I can spend time with her. If anything happens, I can run to her house. So I feel you. As parents age, it's certainly a gift, but man, what how stressful it can be. It never
It
happens, at the right time.
I know. Thank you. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're near your mom. I think it's
Yeah.
time flies by. It's one thing is we just got to value being, on this precious earth, and just how much time we're here, and things pass by us frequently. It's just like, it's kind of like really where, this is the first time I've actually had somebody on where I've never had a conversation with
Yeah.
at length, but when I was with you at LeadsCon in Chicago, I think you were getting ready to go up to your session. I was right there, and
Yeah.
I just started talking with you, and I'm like, man, like I need to get to know Zora a
No,
little bit
no,
better.
no.
Yeah.
I said no. What I said to you, I said, when am I going to be on the podcast, Joey?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I see your podcast in my feed, and I know many of your guests, and I was like, well, when do I get my chance?
Well,
So,
here we
uh,
are. Here
yeah,
we
here we
are.
are.
Here we are.
Nice to
Awesome.
be here.
Well,
Cool.
kick us off. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about, like, I always like to, I love to learn a little bit about your journey, your
Mhm.
career path. Like, what brought you to performance marketing? But even before that, like, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So my story is a bit unique, at least unique to those of us who sat on the Consumer Consent Council for the time that we did together. I ended up in no one really like picks a path into data and the world of consumer identity. So my journey was happenstance. I met a CEO who had a vision that I believed in, and I was excited to get on board, learn how to operate inside of a company. I spent my formative years studying theater production. I always thought I was going to move into production, primarily television production. But a few, things happen. A couple of opportunities present themselves. One opportunity for me was meeting my husband here in Chicago, so I made a decision to stay in Chicago. The other opportunity was meeting the CEO who had a company here in Chicago. So I was able to get a paycheck and learn on the job, which was a huge opportunity for me. And having worked in production, I was really excited to just have normal hours and be time boxed in my work. Because if you come from production or come from the arts, you know that there's just no boundaries between your personal time and your professional time. So so I started out at a small database marketing company. We sold lists, direct mail lists for marketing purposes, primarily to SMBs. We had a few enterprise clients as well. Very transactional business. And actually, what was really interesting about it, I started my career in performance marketing. I came into the business, and my job was to buy leads online for our sales team. So it was B2B, so smaller volumes than probably what you were experiencing at DMS, but we would generate a good number of leads every month for the sales team. Built our own homegrown LMS that sat on top of our CRM, so had some nice application development experience along the way. Got to travel, got to see the world. It was a grind. I worked myself out of pretty much every job within the business, which was my way of learning. And I was fortunate enough that I was able to have another job waiting for me on the other side each time. So got to start in marketing, primarily around demand generation, lead generation. Moved into that operations application development work, and then rounded out my career there in list fulfillment. So I was working direct with our vendors at the time. So at the time it was Axiom, but worked with Experian, Dun & Bradstreet, before Dun & Bradstreet, Net Prospects, and at the time it was 2010, 11, 12. So I was able to actually get my hands on the data. We were a smaller shop. I was able to look at the data, touch and feel the data, commingle the data, and build out proprietary kind of products that we were then relicensing to other businesses as well. So it was kind of the beginnings of an MBA before I got my MBA, and so I went off to do that. And figure out what was next for me, and landed at a company called Infutor. So Infutor Data Solutions, also based here in Chicago, the Chicagoland area. I was a customer for quite some time. Came into the business because I was super excited. I sought them out, and our CEO Gary Walter at the time found a spot for me. And I wanted to get on the bus, and we knew I should be on the bus because I had a genuine interest in what we could do with all of the data that Infutor was using to service the industry in a really meaningful way, and a lot of the vendors that I was working with in a really meaningful way. So I was there for about 3.5 years before Jornaya came knocking with Verisk behind it, and knew some of the leadership team there, really enjoyed the time I'd spent with a lot of the leadership team there. And so I was super excited about the acquisition. So came on board in February 2022. I report into our managing director, Matt Lohman, great guy, great team. And the integration has been really, fascinating and a lot of fun. It's been hard, but all integrations are. And I think Matt really, does it the right way and cares a lot about not just getting it done, but getting it done right, as he says. So he and I are very aligned in our philosophies about how to do business. And so it's been a good time here. Today, I lead the commercial function for Verisk Marketing Solutions. That's so sales, marketing, customer success kind of fall under my jurisdiction. That's pretty much how I came to be.
Cool.
But I found myself I'll paint one more color in the picture a little bit better here. So you and I, we met through the Consumer Consent Council, formerly Leads Council. I was fortunate enough to just kind of get offered a seat at that table, not really knowing many people in the industry or in that network. It just kind of fell in my lap. But yeah, met with Rob Seaver and the board, and that was actually how I met Rob Brokoff. So actually, I think this industry really kind of brought me to the next phase of my career without me really even knowing it. So it's funny how that happens, right? And it happens so frequently.
It does happen frequently. It's a very tight knit community. and relationships are, it's like we're a big family, and everybody kind of, you do things right, and it seems like reciprocate, as you, what goes around comes around, like you put yourself around good people, and I think things really special things happen, like what you guys
Yeah.
gone through. And we'll talk about that because I'd love to learn more. It's from the outside, I've got my, I guess, idea of how things have played out, but I'd love to hear from more from you too. Like, I went through a bunch of acquisitions at DMS. I think we acquired like 12
Hmm.
companies over the course of 3 to 4 years. And I couldn't agree more with your Matt philosophy about trying to do things the right way as far as integrating the businesses and getting everybody aligned. How did the whole, like, how did it all come together? Because, three very successful businesses, right? How did it, what was the vision to kind of go through the trifecta or whatever you guys call it of putting out all the
Yeah,
businesses
yeah.
together?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and even just thinking back to those days when I was speaking early on with the leadership team at Jornaya, I think it's
Yeah.
just all kind of gravity. Like when you start to see find like-minded people or find complementary technologies and
Yeah.
capabilities, like uh, the uh, we start to come to these conclusions that we should be working together, and we don't really like, are we going to work together in as a customer vendor in a customer vendor capacity, or is it going to be in a partnership capacity, or are you going to buy my company? And you really don't know when you start having those conversations. So anyway, but so Verisk acquired Jornaya in December of 2020. Jornaya, I'm just going to give some context, assuming
Yeah.
maybe one or two of your listeners don't know the history
Yeah.
of Jornaya or what Jornaya does. But Jornaya is a behavioral data company, so previously known as Lead ID. So
Hmm.
uh, sitting between the lead publisher and the lead buyer to validate those transactions, ensure we're the lead publisher is operating, around the terms of the SLA, and the leads are collected compliantly and in a way that can be actioned. So Infutor, identity graph business.
Yeah.
We have been in market licensing identity and attribute data components to other data companies, aggregators of data, compilers of data,
Hmm.
resellers of data, and then also platforms and technology providers and business services that are taking our data downstream direct to brands. So very different business models.
Right.
A lead generation solution or a compliance solution, and an identity graph. But when Jornaya started to evolve from Lead ID into Jornaya and start to monetize around that customer journey and that shopping behavior, that's when things would really start to make sense. So
Yeah.
we're able to anchor that shopping intelligence to a national population and start to derive insights about who your shoppers are,
Yep.
who's in market for a particular product, what sort of profile characteristics should be activated on
Right.
to go and acquire more customers who look like them. And yeah, and then we've maintained and continue to diversify the business by empowering the ecosystem that supports the marketer. So we're
Yeah.
continuing to take our data and our capabilities and our insights into these platforms and direct into media publishers and advertising technology companies to power better interoperability for the marketer at large. So it's not just about supporting and standing up the marketer with our insights. It's also ensuring that we're connecting the dots for that marketer in the technology platforms where they want to activate and make use of that data.
Yeah. Intelligence, and data, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of insights, commonality between the companies. Like, did you
Yeah.
guys, I've seen this a lot in our space, and we talk, there's sometimes companies date before they actually, there's an acquisition. Sometimes it's the other way around. It's just like you said, you have a conversation like, are we going to work with you or are we going to buy you? But did you guys have
Hmm.
like a, I know I've seen there's two killer teams between
Yeah.
Infutor and Jornai. Did you guys do some work ahead of time or it was just
Yeah,
like,
we did
yeah,
actually.
yeah,
I sat down with Eli Schwartz, our chief strategy
yeah,
officer, at an industry event very early on, and we were talking primarily partnership. I think we even ran some evaluations against our data, and at the time, I think if I remember the timing correct, that was right around. I think that was the same year that Jornaya was acquired. So the data partnership piece of it became a bit distracted, but immediately I think Eli and the team turned around and started shopping for an identity company. I think they knew, and I mean now I know, given we're in the room together discussing it every day, that they had one view of one very important part of the world, but in order to expand that view and really service the marketing suite, that required a strong identity foundation and identity layer. So we talk about the who, what, when.
yeah,
We talked about it a lot at Via, and the so we have now we have the who and the what by way of that Infutor acquisition. The who being the identity and our ability to go and activate and connect first party data to our graph, and then the what, the attribute information, what sort of property that does a consumer own, how many cars are parked in the driveway, and then also the
yeah,
when, which is just the magic, right? Like, when are they actually in
yes,
market? When do they want to buy? When's the right time to approach them with a personalized offer using the who and the what? And I forgot to kind of zoom out even.
yeah,
So Verisk has been servicing the global insurance market for over 50 years, and primarily operating within underwriting and claims. Scott Stevenson, the CEO at the time of the acquisition, tells a really great story about walking in the building of a large carrier, property and casualty carrier,
hmm,
and going up to the 12th floor to meet with underwriting, maybe going down to the 10th floor to meet with claims, but then skipping the 11th floor or whatever floor it was where the marketing department sits. And this the significant disconnect that existed in these businesses between marketing activities and truly customer selection that was happening within the marketing department, within the marketing team, and how they were going out and acquiring consumers, more customers, between that department and underwriting, where they were writing policies. So that was the original thesis for the acquisitions of Jornaya and subsequently Infutor, to be clear.
so I think you answered it, but um like who do you got, if is it the who, why, and when? Is that who you guys want to be the go-to
Who, what,
player
when?
for?
Yes,
Who, what, when? Sorry, who, what, when? Why
yes.
is cool too, though. But like, uh,
Maybe that's the next acquisition.
yeah. Uh, but I think is that like really coming together when people say, "Hey, if like to take a step back for a second, if I'm in performance marketing, I'm a lead seller, I'm a buyer, I'm a service provider. I see you guys all at the shows.
Yeah,
I see your case studies being shared. I see different players speaking here and there. But if you guys want to be known as really the go-to player for those, for that area of what we're in our industry, right?
yeah, absolutely. I think, again, we're a consumer insights business at our core.
Yeah,
So we want to deliver insights that power better outcomes for the marketer and for the consumer. So that can be through a lead seller, a lead form experience. That can be through a marketer figuring out what sort of audience they want to target with a specific message,
yeah,
or through an activation partner going out and getting better reach across the aforementioned segments. So, I mean, that's true. Our mission truly is to deliver unique, differentiated consumer insights to power more personalized and privacy forward marketing experience.
awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good elevator pitch. I Um, People ask me all the time when I was chief revenue officer at DMS, what does a
Mhm.
CRO do every day? So when I was looking through your LinkedIn profile and I saw chief commercial officer, I had the same.
Mhm.
I was curious what you talked about it a little bit ago about all the responsibilities under your plate, but like what does a chief commercial officer, what is the core function or what is your primary, what do you wake up every day obsessing about?
Yeah, I mean, well, I wake up every day obsessing primarily about employees who are
Mm,
obsessing about customers. I also obsess about customers, but I have been very clear and made my intentions very clear with the unified team that my goal is to make sure that our employees' experience is unique and differentiated in and of itself. If we can deliver a good product to our employees, meaning a good place to work where they feel fulfilled and happy, then they're going to go do their jobs right, just make our customers feel fulfilled and happy with our products and services. So that's how I view my role. However, yes, I have responsibility for sales, customer success, customer accounts, and marketing sits within the commercial function as well. So all of the
wow, that's a lot.
customer facing and touching, yes, functions fall within the commercial organization. I think the last year has been fascinating because we came to the table with two different customer bases, right? We
Yeah.
got Infutor, who's working primarily indirect with platforms, business services providers, other resellers of data. We had some brands in our portfolio too, but more so, I think we were very unique and well positioned to distribute our data through channel partners. And then our channel partners would go and identify all these different markets and layer in their secret sauce to further differentiate and create products that were best served to certain industries. So that was the model there. And then on the Jornaya side, we
Yeah.
we focused on we came to Jornaya came to the table with the brands and some very
Yes.
substantial brands at
Yes.
that. And I won't go to specifics on the call here, but what was a fun exercise to go through was to figure out how to reconcile this brand direct enterprise sales process engagement and service model with our what we call our indirect and more channel oriented partnership model. And so bringing the two together in a way that was kind of maximizing both sides was really the biggest challenge, and creating systems and processes that everyone can subscribe to,
Yeah.
understanding that we're serving very different customer segments. So yeah, it's been an incredible journey at that from a marketing strategy perspective, customer segmentation strategy perspective.
Yeah.
And what's great though is that a lot of our some of the more sophisticated technology partners we've worked with for years as Infutor. I mean, a lot of the same tactics are starting to float downstream into the brands. I mean, the brands are becoming very sophisticated about how they manage and activate on and
Mm.
create strategy around consumer data. So it's starting to kind of blend together into a more cohesive story as we go from customer to customer and have these conversations. I think
Wow.
I was under the impression that would be starkly different
Yes.
themes and trends that they'd be concerned about, but they're not. Everyone wants to know more about the consumer, regardless of whether it's there's someone sitting between you and that consumer. Everyone wants to better service that consumer, either indirectly through a customer that's a brand or directly through the brand. And everyone wants to protect their business and make sure that they're doing things the right way. That's not specific to B2B or B2C. That is an overarching objective that sits front and center at every conversation we have. So yeah, anyway, but
Oh yeah.
from a strictly functional perspective, yeah, this is my first go around in this sort of function. So it's been exciting to have the opportunity to oversee as much as I am today. But yeah, I mean, it's also nice because I've pretty much sat in every function within commercial. Like I
Yeah.
said, in my first, I sat in every function. There's not a lot that I ask of the team that I'm not willing to do myself. And so it
Love it.
makes it a much easier conversation and a much easier day to day to know that people are doing things better than you can do them. Number one, and then two, they're doing things that you would feel comfortable stepping into yourself too. So
Yeah. It's cool to
not,
surround yourself with people that will challenge you, people that
yeah,
will make you stronger, people
mhm,
that were have good talent. Like I've always been grateful in my career that I've never wanted to just hire yes people.
no,
I want to make sure that um, I empower them to to be successful and to help me be more successful. And
totally,
I think you shared some really cool insights there, my friend, because I've always also recently more on the brand side. It's good to know, especially from your your perspective, the influence brands are actually becoming stronger with really how they're looking at their data and how, because in my experience in my 20 years, it's just been sloppy, as far as brands. They've
yeah,
always needed help,
yeah,
with and not sophisticated. It's good to see that they are getting better and better with responsibilities within their databases and how to
mhm,
be a better marketer within internal marketing or activation. And you guys obviously are a big
yeah,
player of that. You talked about it a little earlier. You guys had a conference. It was right near LeadsCon. It was like the week
yeah.
before, week after.
Mhm.
So it was busy for
Well,
you a couple weeks there. But what was
yes,
the
it was.
and you guys have always had good brands show up to the conference too. I think that's a
Yeah,
theme I've seen this year in general with a lot of the conferences is they're not getting as many brands to show
yeah,
up for various
yeah.
reasons. But what was a big takeaway or theme from the shows that you guys had this year? From what kind of came out of the show.
Yeah, the show was amazing. It was also our first opportunity to really bring together the two customer bases in a meaningful way. We had a via I believe in May of 2022, but the ink was still wet on the
Mm,
on the agreement.
right.
I don't know why I said ink was still wet. Ink was not yet dry on the
Yes.
agreement. The former is a much more disgusting way of thinking about it. But no, we had a
That's awesome. I
we
love
had
it.
signed in blood. Uh, no, but yeah, we were still early days, and everyone's still kind of getting to know each other in the
Right.
building. So this year's FI, I think, was a really great representation of who we are and what sort of topics are top of mind for us and our clients. We did have some great brands on site. We had folks from the Big Ten, Ally, and
Yeah.
then we had our some partners there as well. And it was a really great conversation about, I mean, it illustrated what I just said, which was
Yeah.
that the topics and the kind of problems or opportunities that are top of mind for brands are also top of mind for service providers. And so we got to demonstrate that on stage. I think my personally, like if you're going to go and check out our on-demand experience, we have one.
Yeah.
It's on the marketing.verisk.com website. I thought our truth and trends of consumer privacy and compliance, which was led by our head of data governance, Christine Froelich, uh, that was just a phenomenal session. We had academics on stage talking about the
Nice.
consumer impact, the economic impact of changes in privacy, consumer privacy rules, and how it's going to impact the industry financially and also the consumer financially.
Yeah.
So that was a great session, and I encourage you or anyone else who's listening in to listen
Yeah.
to that one. But
Thank
yeah, it
you.
was it was a great event. Single day. We don't really treat it like a standard conference. We know that there's plenty of conferences out there, and we want to go and meet our customers and our
Yeah.
and our and our prospects at those conferences. But the goal here is really just to kind of have a day of education and relationship building live in a real world experience. We try to keep it a day and a half
Yeah.
to be considerate of the time that we are spending away from our families at these conferences. But we
Yes.
get a lot done in that amount of time, and we have a lot of fun too. So I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I would love to check out the segment that you highlighted because I don't think, going to conferences, a lot of the compliance conversations are around TCPA, and I understand
Yes.
that right now there's a consent hanger out there that everybody's waiting for from the FCC, but privacy, isn't probably discussed as much, and especially, like I said, the effects of course, the monetary effects of it, but also like the true effects of what we're seeing from consumer experience. So I will
Yeah.
go actually watch that and encourage all my
Yeah,
listeners
that
to
was a
do
great
that as
one.
well. I didn't even know it was on
Yeah.
demand, so that's awesome. Thank you for
Yeah,
throwing that out there.
it went live last week, so
Awesome,
fairly fresh there. Yeah.
awesome. Well, what's a big you know any kind of as we talked about, like, kicked off the show, or in November, what as you guys close out the year, what's a big focus for y'all for 24? Is it literally the integration management of the businesses and just cohesively getting the functions of the teams, for all three businesses
Yeah.
aligned, or
I think we're there. I mean, I think we've had some really great engagement around this unified offering that we're taking to market here. I I think the focus right now, and as we round out the year, is making sure we have a good year, but also we are really refining how we're taking our unified product line to the market. We have it's just a different conversation. It's a different person. It's
yeah,
generally it's multiple people too. So if we're showing up and having a conversation with a brand today, now we need to not only come in and ensure that we're doing everything we need to be doing, and evolving and innovating from a lead generation perspective, but also opening the aperture to discussions around just consumer data strategy. And and I mean, you're a CRO and I'm CCO, so we're talking about this from the perspective of like revenue functions, and so I'll keep that going. That's fine.
yeah,
But yeah, from like our perspective, we've got to create new sales motions, we've got to create new conversation, and we've got to come in a really compelling way with a really compelling. The offering's compelling, but we got
yeah,
to make sure that we're taking into account all of the things that our customers are um, experiencing right
yes,
now. That their budgets are tight. Like, this is a
yes,
difficult market. We need to be focused on profitability, and our data can support that. And so that's the story we need to be telling. So it's super fun if you enjoy sales strategy
yeah,
conversations. Fun stuff to talk about. Like, how are we going to go in and really illustrate that we can drive better profitability and better performance?
yeah,
And then we have to take that and we have to make it account specific, because each of these businesses is very,
yes,
very has their own strategy that they're trying to deploy. So we got to be smarter.
yes,
It takes a lot of planning, but I believe that any amount of time spent planning is time well spent. And you mentioned it earlier, and I wanted to double tap on it. Maybe this is the
yeah,
question I'll ask for you, but like,
yeah,
some of the brands we talk to just don't fit the profile. They're not ready. They're not taking it seriously. They're not interested in protecting the data in a kind of with a long term view in mind. I'm
hmm,
not saying they're not protecting the data. I just mean that with the long term horizon in mind. And so, I mean, one of the big aha moments I had was when as we were integrating the team and as we were putting together our view of what the correct customer looked like for this new product, these new set of product lines, was we got to make sure that the customer fits the right kind of characteristics. The
yes,
business could look and feel like it should be a brand we should be working with,
yeah,
but when you start to get beneath the surface, if the priorities aren't right, if the technology infrastructure isn't right, if they don't
yeah,
have hands on keyboards actually being able to make things happen with this stuff, they're not ready. And that presents risk for us. It presents risk for them, certainly. But I'm curious to get your perspective on that too, just on how different brands are kind of tackling um,
Yeah.
change.
Well, I think you hit it on the head, in the sense of not all companies and brands are equal in how they treat their business flow and data and their priorities, right? So it might be a priority for you guys. I I believe in solution style selling, which you talked about,
Mm-hmm.
getting to know if you're really, really building a strategic partnership. I
Mm-hmm.
train my teams always to, shut up and listen and understand really what is the pain point of your partner, client,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call them. But ultimately, you need to listen and understand really what their priorities are and what their pain points are, because then you can come back with the appropriate solution. You guys
Right.
have different offerings, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's the benefit of now under the umbrella.
Yeah.
But if really, when we build out sales goals, we build out forecasts. We want it by product. We want it by quarter. We it's almost like when we call somebody, we want them to pick up, right? As a sales
Mm-hmm.
as direct to consumer sales, right? But you have to now understand and give the power back to the client and understand really it may
Mm-hmm.
be different timelines, but where I think you win is education. I think you
Mm-hmm.
guys actually, so
Yeah.
you can't force somebody to make a move or prioritize something, but you can educate them. You can make them
Yeah.
relevant content and something that they may not read today, tomorrow, or the next day, but you can give them that information. You guys are good at sharing valuable information. And I think all
Mm-hmm.
of us in this performance marketing community can learn from you. And I think we'll
Mm-hmm.
act on it when it's the appropriate time. But usually that wins in the long run in our industry. You educate enough, you will actually earn the trust and relationships to win the business. Did I answer your
And
question?
yeah, you totally did. And the brands that are interested will show up. And so
Yes.
that self selection, it's helpful. So yeah, I appreciate that. Also, my weakness is compliments, so I appreciate uh, the compliment on our education.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. No, it's always been isolated between businesses, but now coming together. Like Jordan has always done great with white papers and education. If you tour, same thing. So I'm excited to see what's on your plate
Mhm.
for next year too.
Oh, yeah, big opportunity for us here too now.
Yeah,
Yeah, thought leadership and education is a big theme for us and or a big focal point for us next year.
good.
And we're going to totally reinvent how we do it because content now. I mean, if you think about AI coming into the mix too, content now
Yeah,
is everywhere, and
it
so we're trying to
is.
figure out, like how I got to get back into my marketing roots and figure out how to cut
Yes.
through the noise here because yeah, the old kind of white paper byline
Yep.
strategy isn't cut it anymore. There's too much out there for people to consume. So yeah, we'll take that one offline, Joe.
Yeah,
And we
no,
can
no. I think it's a good
Chris.
it's a good point though. That's another podcast and conversation, and probably.
Yeah,
But
that's a
you're right.
whole
Is there's so much out
session.
there. How do you distinguish yourself? But that's a good one for
Yeah.
folks to think about too, as they decide what's important for them to watch or what's relevant out there. Um,
Hmm.
this has been awesome. Like I've it's been
Yeah.
nice to actually really, in my get to know you a little bit here. But what do you like to
Mhm.
do outside of it sounds like you work your tail
No,
off.
I
Like
just love building out revenue models and working in spreadsheets. That's pretty much all I do. No, I'm kidding. But I actually, anyone who knows me would actually say yes, she does. She does spend a
That's
lot of
it.
time in spreadsheets. So, I mean, what do I like to do? I have a couple
Yeah.
kids. I got two
Okay.
boys, 3 and 4,
Nice.
so they keep me active.
Oh yeah.
We usually spend our weekends. We'll go to the gym. The boys have their little like kid gym at the gym, and they'll do their
Nice.
basketball or their arts and crafts and things. And then my husband and I will go and do our class together.
Oh
Yeah,
cool.
just, we like to kind of just spend time together. I mean, who doesn't like spending time with their family, I guess, but
Yeah.
just outside doing things together. Pandemic timing was really kind of perfect for me. I mean, I hate to say that. It wasn't perfect for anyone, to be clear,
Right.
but
Yeah.
for me, I had a kid March 2020, so I was already hunkered down. I already had all
Yeah.
my my toilet paper and my paper towels. So we spent that whole spring and summer just together, and then we kind of got addicted to it, and that's what we do. That's how I spend my
Amazing.
time.
Yeah.
Read some books here and there. Good big fan of actually marketing book podcast, another podcast I really like, because it helps me kind of cut through all these different if I'm going to recommend some
Yeah.
things, that's what I always recommend, because it interviews, hour-long interview with an author will tell you a lot about their book, and then I read a lot of books about sales and marketing, and enjoy doing that and figuring out new strategies and tactics I could deploy in my day job. So yeah.
Nice. Nice. Silver
Mhm.
lining pandemic too. I think, like I said, we all realized how important the
Yeah.
building of our household and relationships with our significant others and our families. It's so important.
Yeah.
It's like I became numb to getting on planes and traveling every week, and just it like hit me like a ton of bricks, just right, smack dab
Yeah.
in the face. It's like whoa. So that's super cool. Like you just seem like a cool, down to earth person that is just working
Try to
your
be.
tail off and hustling hard. Uh, where can we
Yeah.
see you? What are you guys focusing on for shows? Probably no more for the rest of this year, right? But like, what are you guys looking at
Yeah.
Q1?
We just wrapped most of our events.
Yeah.
I think I'm grounded through the end of the year, which is
Yes.
awesome.
It's good. Yes.
The January we'll kick things off. First week of January we go to CES every year. So
Yep.
we'll be
Oh
at
wow.
CES. I know LeadsCon is coming up in April. We'll be there too.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll be at some of the IAB events, annual leadership meeting for IAB, and industry preview to myself. But we've got other shows planned, and then Verisk is hosting its insurance conference in Orlando in April as well.
Oh
So we've got
wow.
quite a dance card coming up here in the
Yeah.
first half. So,
Well,
yeah.
time flies. It does, but and those kids are going to sprout up super fast on you.
Ugh, you already
Mine are
have.
mine are 15 and 11, so it's just like boom. Or 12, sorry.
Different
Uh,
problems. You have very different
yes.
problems than I have
Yeah,
right now.
that's it. That's it. It's just every age, different
Different set of
different
problems.
challenges. Yes.
Always problems.
Um, but
Yeah.
I hope you really get to enjoy the holidays, and I
Yeah.
really
You
appreciate
too.
you coming on and sharing your story and what's going on with the businesses together aligned. It's exciting to see what you guys are going to build together. You have tremendous talent uh,
We do.
around you,
Yeah.
and it's really cool to witness and see.
Hmm.
And I'm looking forward to following along the way. And I encourage my listeners to definitely go check out the Via on demand, and just try to
Hmm.
follow the businesses on LinkedIn, because you'll get some, as Zora works through what she wants to share with us all. We'll see
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah,
thank you so
exactly.
much, my friend.
You'll get the good stuff, only the good stuff. I'll sift through it for you, and you can follow me on LinkedIn. Yeah. No, thank you so much. It was great to spend some time with you, Joey. And yeah, happy holidays to you and your family. And if you want to circle back in a year and see how, what we've
Oh
accomplished,
yeah.
I'll be happy to join you again.
Awesome. Thanks, Zora.